Hey guys, I just want to let you know before we get into this episode that we've partnered with Band Builder Academy. Band Builder Academy is the #1 place to grow your music career. Run by top label manager and Sony Vice President Todd McCarthy, so you know it's worth it. Enter promo code CONCERTS at checkout to receive 10% off membership.
All right, this is Draven.
And I'm Brian.
And we are Bullet to the Heart. This is the Concerts That Made Us.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, Concerts That Made Us. Interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and that cheering crowd sound. It's concerts, concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
On this episode, I'm joined by Draven and Brian from Bullet to the Heart. They recently released their single Black Widow and we chat all about it and much, much more. You're going to love this episode. But before we get chatting with the guys, we're going to take a listen to Black Widow. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Yeah.
Draven and Brian, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Glad to be here.
I'm good. I'm delighted to be speaking with you guys now today. We kicked off the episode with your latest release, Black Widow. Would you like to tell us about it?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's the first of some upcoming songs that we're coming out with. It's a lot more aggressive than stuff that we've made in the past. And it kind of tells a story of taking vengeance on people who are kind of creeping on women, So it's kind of like an empowering song and also a brutal song.
Heavy guitar licks on that one.
Yeah, it's first time we've busted out, and I know that it's kind of a cliche, but it's the first time we busted out a 7-string guitar with music that we played. Not that you need one to make it heavy or a 7 strings heavy. Rob Scallon made one of the most beautiful songs in an 8-string guitar distortion.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
To try it out. Try something different,
Yeah, exactly. Something I noticed now is that it's like a breath of fresh air. It starts off and you're kind of expecting one thing, and then as it moves on, you're like, oh man, this is actually brilliant. It's, it's not like anything you've heard before. It's real sort of, like I said, a breath of fresh air.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It felt, sorry, I'm going to take over.
Go for
it. It felt like that writing, because we just finished Transcendence, which is our last album. And we were like stuck in the studio all of COVID, just writing those songs. And to come out of that and to start writing 7-string, heavy, aggressive, it was like, oh, cool. Like we're still being creative right now. So it was a good way to like kind of keep going, but not writing the same thing.
Plus, I definitely, myself at least, I definitely try to not put myself in a box or like think of something to make before I go at it. Like, oh, I want to make a song that's like this kind of metal in particular, this genre. We really try to stay unique and just kind of not confine ourselves to like a particular sound or a genre,
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job of that. And how has the reception been from fans?
Pretty good so far. A lot of people on the opening day, and then the whole weekend's been pretty good. A lot of the comments are positive. They like the artistic nature of the video. And people just like, a woman killing a bunch of creepy men, apparently.
I never would have guessed. Oh, man. And, you guys, it seems kind of, well, obviously now killing a lot of men isn't autobiographical, but you seem like you want to help people through your music, help them through issues that they might be facing.
Yeah, a lot of that's actually from Audrey specifically. She's had a lot of family members go through a lot of like mental illness and like a lot of personal like drama and stuff that affects their lives. So when we write in the studio, we're kind of writing based on how we feel or what we want to project. And when she comes in, she kind of takes this like spin on things. And a lot of it is geared towards like, I'm writing with a purpose. I'm not just writing to be an egotistical rock star.
Yeah. If only more bands were like that, huh?
Yeah.
And, something as well I have to ask, what's it like having, a female lead singer? Normally, you don't see it too often, it's great now, but you don't see it too often. Normally, it's like 4 guys. But I think back to the whole breath of fresh air thing, it's cool that you do have a female lead singer. What's it like?
I mean, I don't really feel like it's that different for me, at least. Like, I just, for me, my perspective of this whole band is that these are 3 of my best friends and I just enjoy playing music with them, Definitely, I feel like a lot of people try to put us into the box like, oh, you're female fronted. I'm like, well,
yes, female fronted is not a genre.
Like,
but I agree. Like, it's kind of normal. I've been in a female fronted band for quite a while because her and I were in a different project like way before this, couple projects ago. So I kind of like the uniqueness. When I started getting into playing music, like playing out in bars and shows and stuff, nobody else was really doing it unless you were Paramore. You know what I mean? Because Evanescence wasn't around touring anymore. A lot of the big female bands weren't really like active. You had like In This Moment and Paramore, and that was like female bands. You know what I mean? So to me, it was kind of like a uniqueness approach. Like I want to do something different. Like every guy can scream, every guy can do this. It's like I want to do something different. Put some power into it, some passion. It seems. It's kind of just normal for us. Just kind of vibing.
Yeah, I get that. And What was the process then from coming up with Black Widow to recording it to releasing it? What was the process like?
So we got a huge opportunity in, what year was it? Was it 21?
21,
It was
last
21.
year.
So I don't even know what timeline we're in. We got a huge opportunity in October of 21. So this is before our album came out, because our album was set to release for November. So those songs are already done, queued up to be released. We got a huge opportunity to record with Justin from Miss May I. So that kind of geared us to want to prove ourselves, want to push ourselves in a direction, because we're going to be in front of this guy who's been all over the place, genre wise, production wise, show wise. So we were like, let's push ourselves to match that quality.
Yeah, he also was a good influence on us, because basically we, he's kind of poking with the cattle prodder to come on, write songs, you can do it. But we wrote I want to say 8 or
I think it was 8,
8 songs.
Yeah, we settled on 5.
Yeah. So then we took the best 5 that that we all liked, including Justin, and then we went out to Ohio to Rephase Studios, and then he kind of helped. Well, he tracked us, he recorded us, he did all the production on everything. He changed some stuff, gave some ideas for stuff. So it was a really good collaborative effort. He's a wonderful person to work with, very kind, very knowledgeable. Learned a lot while we were there.
Yeah, a lot of tracking techniques that we're doing in our studio now. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you often hear these stories of bands getting paired with this legendary producer, and it seems like it would be incredibly intimidating. I was going to ask, what was it actually like, going there and working with him as a person?
I mean, for me, I know this sounds, I will just admit this right now, if I haven't before, I'm very ignorant when it comes to a lot of music and a lot of bands. I honestly hadn't listened to Miss May I before I met him. So I didn't really have that oh, I'm standing next to this Titan, I'm this is just a dude, for me at least personally. But just as a person, he's really kind, very knowledgeable, and he has his particular way of doing things. And I definitely learned a lot by watching his process and how he does stuff.
I think it was a little nerve-wracking at first, just because I was a huge fan of Miss May I. He that band got me into metalcore. When I was younger, I started covering their music and stuff like that. So it was a little nerve-wracking, because you're oh, I'm going up against this dude who is going to want to push me, who's going to want to metaphorically slap me around and be play better, But I mean, once you get past that, like I said, he's a sweetheart. He's a goofy dude. Once you met him, I was oh, this is chill. Now we're having fun. And it was hanging out with him. I mean, every day we went out and got food with him. We were hanging around Ohio, which is a state we've never been to before. So it was kind of a fun way to just be creative, but also get down and work,
Yeah, definitely. I suppose it just goes to show, no matter how big or how legendary you are, you're still a person and you still like the same things as everyone else,
It's just great. It's just cool to meet people who don't let their fame or their fortune get them to be egotistical.
Yeah, because we've had it the other way around. We're not going to mention any names, but we've had it the other way around, where someone's do you know who I am? You know who I am? And we're no, I don't.
People, although I will say, people that aren't as high up on the ladder.
They don't have that status.
It's weird. People are that are in that middle ground tend to have the most ego I've seen personally.
I was just going to say, it's always those guys who's I think maybe subconsciously they're trying to prove themselves or something, or to feel like they should be more recognized. But it's always the guys then at the top that are absolute sweethearts, Be interesting to see at what stage that you lose that assholey and become nice.
Yeah, I wonder. I won't say that everyone at the top is nice, but at least the ones that we've come in contact with have been good so far. So,
At this stage, I usually like to dive into my guest's history to get a sense of how you got to where you are today. So,
oh, man. He's got the longest story.
Okay, you're going to make me tell that story again?
I mean, you always do.
I started when I was 7 years old. I was playing the trumpet. I'll just give you the synopsis.
Okay.
I've been doing music since I was a small child. Played a plethora of instruments throughout, elementary school all the way through high school, as far as classical instruments go, like trumpet, violin, cello. And when I was 14, I picked up a guitar. My dad, we didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I'd use all my birthday money to pay for half of a guitar. My dad paid the other half, and that's kind of how I started on guitar, learning 3 Days Grace and stuff. And then I played that for a while, and then eventually I met these guys, and then started playing music together.
2016.
Yeah, I believe 2016.
Yeah, 2016. He got involved, and it was just me, him, and Audrey. And then we got Tom, and we made the band official with the name in 2017.
Yeah, and Tom and I went to school together, although, yeah.
So mine's a little more complicated, but less interesting, I guess. I didn't start playing drums till I was like 10 or 11.
All right.
So I was one of those like late bloomers, in my opinion, because like you hear all these people like, oh, I was playing the pots and pans when I was 5. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't start getting interested till 10. And then I got a drum kit through my grandfather, who wasn't really a part of our life for a lot of my life. And then he was like, hey, like your kid played drums. I bought him a drum kit. I want him to practice every day. So I started learning. And at 14, I played my first show. It was my high school Battle of the Bands. So nobody knew I could play drums. And I played with this band that was made up of mostly non-people that went to the school. Played that, went well, started playing local bars and small venues, started opening up for bands, and then got into another band, kind of jumped a couple bands here and there, a couple different genres, kind of testing out the waters. And then 2016, Audrey and I were in a band, and we lost 2 of our members on the same day, and we happened to have one more show. So we convinced them to play one more show, and at that show, we announced that we were looking for a bass player and a guitar player. And him and Tom were at that show, and they were like, we're going to play. We're going to do it.
Yeah, I was actually opening up for them.
Yeah.
I made my own backing tracks, and I was playing a show by myself because I had a band when I was like a sophomore in high school, but then to say the least, didn't end well. So then I was on my own looking for people. And then, they came up to me after my set. They're like, hey, man.
Yeah.
You want to be in our band? I was like, I don't know if you guys are good, I guess.
Yeah, we're going on next, man.
I was like, all right, I'll see what you guys got. And I was like, okay. And then like a week later, or like 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, we have the opportunity to open for Gemini Syndrome.
Yeah,
you got to learn all of our songs in like a week. I'm like, okay.
I did do that.
Oh, geez. I love though, you said they were going on after you. So it wasn't a typical kind of you had to audition for them. It was more like they were auditioning for you.
Kind of. It was kind of like both ways. Like I didn't know I was auditioning for them when I was playing my set, but yeah.
Yeah, he was a good guitar player. He was alone. Like you said, he played guitar with a bunch of backtracks, and I was like, dude, that guy could shred, but like, why doesn't he have a band? Like, but it kind of worked out, man, because like we kind of just like connected, and he's a cool dude, and we instantly connected when writing music. And one of the things that I did force that on you and Tom was, hey, you got to learn these 8 songs by next week.
Yeah,
and you guys pulled through. So,
oh man,
and working out.
That has to be like one of the worst things. One of the most common, but one of the worst things you can do to a musician is like, you have a week to learn all these songs. You better do it.
I mean, I will say I just have had a lot of experience doing that kind of stuff because I did 10 years of trumpet from the time I was 7 to I was 17. But my dad also had me getting private lessons when I was really young. So like by the time I got into high school, like I kind of got bored of it, because it became less of my thing and more of my dad's thing. Like, hey, you need to play your trumpet before you can play Xbox. I was like,
yeah,
damn,
got me again.
So I would just kind of like sight read the music in high school, So I kind of got good at learning things quickly, especially with like music wise. So like that made it a lot easier for me to be able to like, I'm just gonna learn these songs really quick, and I know how to practice. And thankfully for my dad, even though I hated those, well, I didn't hate, but
you just liked it.
Even though like he pushed me a lot harder than I wanted to go, but I'm definitely still glad for that because, I learned how to practice correctly, and I learned a lot of stuff that's transferable to whatever type of musical instrument I want to learn how to play,
Yeah, I feel like on a selfish level too, I'm gonna be selfish for a minute. Like I think that kind of proves like dedication.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the fact that I could be like, hey, learn this music that you weren't a part of and I need it next week. And you guys were like, I want to do that so bad. I feel like that kind of gave me oh, these guys are legit. Because like Audrey and I have been through tons of bands where these people were not motivated through anything. It was like, oh, we have to write a song, and they're like, oh, no, we're good. And I'm like, well, then we got to make a cover because we got to play 40 minutes. Like just weird stuff like that.
Yeah, I get you. And I have to ask, what does your father think of your music choices now?
My father? Oh, he loves it.
Really?
Yeah, he's just glad that I'm doing, like, my dad he did music to like make a living for a long time, like in like the 70s, I want to say.
It was like folk.
Yeah, he's like folk country music, a little bit of like, hard, but rock, funk, kind of what was going on back then. But then he did what he told me is he eventually went back to school and got a real job, so he could get a family and all that stuff. And I don't know. I'd say, I mean, not to put words in his mouth, but I'd say he's proud of what I'm doing. I have a decent day job. We're very similar, my father and I. We both work jobs in IT, and we both do our passion on the side. My dad was doing music for a while, and he started doing musicals. He's actually I'm gonna promote my dad's stuff. He's actually coming out. He's directing. He wrote a musical called November 22nd, and he's going to be coming out with that later this year, I believe. So he's gone from musician to playwright to writing and directing and starring in his own musical. So I think he's been to a few of my shows. He likes our music, and I'd say he's proud of what I'm doing. Yeah, geez, he sounds like quite the man. Yeah, he's my father. I'm his son.
He's a sweet dude, though. He's a sweet dude. We used to have our studio at his house back when he lived with his dad, and it was just always, oh, you guys working on music today? And I'm like, yep, yes, Mr. Banishek, go upstairs. Yeah. He's a cool dude, though. He's dope.
Yeah, I used a lot of his mics before. I'd borrow his mics.
Yeah, that's right. He has a lot of equipment, so we've had to borrow his equipment before to help us out with stuff. So
his PA system, his mics.
Yeah.
It's handy. That's handy. And, at what point in your younger days, what happened that made you guys think, right, I want to pursue music seriously?
I'd say just because music helped me get through a lot, and music for a large part of my life has been the most important thing to me, because for a long time, music is all that I had, really. There's a couple of albums I can say that got me through a lot. I think I've been pronouncing it wrong most of my life. Linkin Park's Meteora, something like that. That and 3 Days Grace's 1X. Like, music just helped me get through so much. And, and growing up, I didn't have, throughout school, didn't have the most friends. So I spent a lot of my time either practicing trumpet or listening to music or learning how to play guitar. And it makes me feel things. And if I could express the way that I feel and convey those emotions to other people, and if other people feel the same way that I do, I'd love to be able to help people in the way that others have helped me musically. And any chance that I get to do that, whenever I feel the passion to write a song or convey how I feel, that's probably the most meaningful thing that I have. And I'd like to share that with people. Yeah,
I definitely understand that anyway. I think a lot of people, especially musicians, kind of have that feeling, or a lot of people kind of in their teenage years kind of went through that,
Yeah.
Something similar anyway.
I mean, I feel like it's what drives a lot of musicians. I mean, of course, you're going to get some that just want to do it because they think it's cool, which that's fine. But there's a lot that are they've been battered and broken and destroyed in their lives. And that's the only thing that makes you feel, and it's I feel like we all kind of went through something in our life where we're we want to do music to feel that and reciprocate that to other people. And then I remember one of the things that I gravitated towards was I saw Avenged Sevenfold live when I was 11 or 12. And I was I was obsessed with guitar at the time. I wanted to play guitar so bad. And when I saw the Rev play, I was that's the coolest guy in the room right there. That's the coolest dude. It's the guy sitting back, wailing on the drums. And I was that's what I want to do now. And again, I was just getting started. So like, I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's the dude, that the backbeat, the heartbeat of the band. That's what I want to do. And I just kind of like use that as a driving force to like get better and practice and try new things and do that. Cause like, I agree with Brian. I really want to like, what music's done for me is it's so much I can't even put it into words. And it's like, I would love to be that light for somebody else. Kind of just like the gift that keeps giving, keep it going, you know? There's so much pain and evil in this world. And I feel like music's the good part, and everybody speaks that language in music.
Yeah, definitely the universal language. I really like that though. You know, it's me personally, and I know a lot of the listeners that'll definitely resonate with them. But you kind of, I had a question lined up next, and you kind of jumped ahead to it. I was thinking, has he got the questions in front of him? But I normally
like
ask.
to ramble a bit.
I normally ask, since the podcast is called Concerts That Made Us, what concerts, as a concert goer, what concerts have made you?
For myself, I want to say probably we were at the same concert actually.
System of a
Down.
We didn't know each other at the time, but we happened to be there at the same concert. We found that out years later.
Yeah. That was like the first like big concert I went to, apart from like my dad playing shows and like, you know, coffee shops and bars and stuff like that. This is going to sound weird, but a concert I went to recently that I thought was really cool was an Oliver Tree show at the Rave. It's kind of like a goofy internet person that makes music. But, you know, aside from him playing the character that he plays, there's a few times where he like got real and, you know, said some real stuff. And, you know, that was a good concert. So I'd say those two are like the ones that come up to my memory, at least currently.
Yeah, I'd say definitely the Avenged. Like I said, like that made me look at drummers differently because I wanted to play guitar so bad, and seeing Avenged, I was like, yeah, like that's dope. So that kind of changed my mentality to like pursue that. But also my first concert was Korn and Powerman 5000 and Filter. That kind of opened my eyes up of how powerful music is. Because they played Soldier Field in Chicago, which if you're not familiar, it's like a huge like football stadium, and it was so packed. And every single person is singing. Every single person had their arms up. And I was like, wow, like this dude's this big on stage and everybody's like interacting and having fun. And I was like, holy crap, you know, like that's the coolest job in the world.
Oh man, I'm jealous of some of them, especially the System one. They've been on my list for years, ever since I was a teenager. And I think in like 15 or 20 years, they've only come to Ireland once, and I couldn't go, unfortunately. So hopefully I'll get to see him at some stage in the future. But you made me think of something there, talking about the internet guy. Is there a gig that you guys have been to that your fans would be surprised you were at?
Probably that one. And I actually I got a lot of friends that are into like EDM music. So I occasionally go to the dubstep, like rhythm show.
Right.
Usually more dubstep than rhythm, but you know.
Mine's kind of embarrassing. I went to a Machine Gun Kelly concert.
Right.
Yeah. He gets a lot of hate from a lot of people in our industry. But I mean, it was fun. Like, he puts on a hell of a show.
Yeah, I'd imagine he does. Did you go willing? Was it something you actually wanted to go to, or were you dragged along by a friend?
I wanted to go. I wanted to see what the fuss was about. You know, I was into a couple songs at the time, and I was like, let's just do it. You know, my sister was a huge fan. Like, she's like obsessed. So I was like, I'll go for you, because he wasn't coming to Chicago, which we're in Illinois. He was in the next state over. So it's about a 4-hour drive. And I didn't want her to go alone because she's, 18 years old at the time. So I was like, let's just go. Like, I'll take you. I'll go see it. I don't care. And it was a blast. Openers were fantastic. It was like that pop punky, but kind of like lo-fi rap vibe. It was like interchanging in the genre. So it's kind of cool.
I always find it's definitely, it's cool to go see people, outside your genre, or even people you wouldn't even be that into, really, because I think it helps with your musicianship, really. Like you were saying earlier, it's good to not be in a box, look at other genres and stuff. But let's get into your gigs. I'm sure people are dying to hear about them now. Can you remember your very first gig as the band you are now?
Yes. It was the Dear Deadly album show at Sub T.
Yeah. That was the first time that Tom was there.
Yes, as Bullet. So Subterranean. It's I don't know how to really describe it. The Chicago. So it's Chicago's a big city, and instead of it being like a theater that's like interconnected, it's kind of like a hole in the wall. But when you go inside, it's like a big, like kind of like lounge kind of show. So it's kind of like a little smaller than a theater, but bigger than a bar, if that makes any sense. So, but it's literally a hole in the wall. Like you'll miss it. It's got a little marquee, and you walk into the door and you can go upstairs or you can go downstairs. And the downstairs is the smaller stage, upstairs is the bigger stage. We played the basement for a band that we were friends with at the time called Dear Deadly. They were doing their album release show, and they allowed us to open the show. It was our first show in this lineup, first time playing live as a 4-piece.
Oh man! And
little fun little fact here. It was later that year. It was later that year. We ended up selling out the top floor.
Oh man!
So just gigging, playing music. We then did our album release on the top floor and sold it out. And I'm super proud of that.
Oh man. And what? That was only like a couple of months later.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10, like on the dot, I think. Because we had our first show, and it was February 4th, 2017. And I think it was like September or October something is when the album came out. And we just did a lot of radio promo, a lot of press. People were really just digging the music at the time. I mean, it was something fresh on the scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so
I
feel like that really helped. But yeah, that was our first show as a group. It was a lot of fun, definitely a learning experience, but a lot of fun.
I'd say so. And, as a band, what concerts do you think have made you guys?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would say definitely probably the tour. The first tour.
That's what I was thinking.
That was a huge learning experience.
That was going through the ringer, definitely.
So I have a more positive one than we'll take into that one. Definitely, we headlined House of Blues. So House of Blues in Chicago is a big deal, and that was our second album release. We got to headline. A couple hundred people were there for us, so that was like a huge win-win goal. We've played House of Blues before. I've played it tons of times in other bands. But to headline it was such an honor. I brought out the double bass kit, went on full out, got the banner set up. But that show kind of made us turn to each other and be like, oh, we could do this. We could just keep going. But definitely the biggest thing that made our band kind of better was going on tour in 2019. We made a lot of mistakes, and we saw a lot of stuff that kind of made us regroup and want to do better,
Right.
So I would say that whole tour, we played out west, which if you don't know, out west in the States, it's all like long drives, it's hills and deserts. And it was a lot of little suffering there, but it helped us get through a lot as a unit and kind of come back and be like, hey, if we want to do this, we gotta try a little harder.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Sounds like it was very testing.
Amazing way to put that.
Yeah. A lot of drama, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah. Now, I don't want you to think I'm digging into that experience. You can use a different experience if you want, but I always ask as a follow-up question. We've heard the good. Now we'll get slightly more negative. What's the worst experience you guys have had as a band, and how did you overcome it?
I think we could say what, but not say who.
Yeah, we'll say what. Yeah, I would say, so on that tour, I'm just going to say being in a band, doing this for how long we've been doing it, playing the tours, we've been on a couple different tours. You don't always like the band you're on tour with.
Right. Something you don't hear often.
Sometimes you get paired up. Sometimes you get an opportunity, and it's great from a business perspective because we fit the genre or we fit in the image. But some people are just not good people, and they will throw your stuff off stage.
Literally
throw your stuff off stage. So I feel like that was one of the learning curves in a negative experience because, you're not at home. You're not going home to sleep. You're out on your own in the middle of nowhere. You're playing the show, and someone's rushing you off stage so they can set up their props, and they throw one of your bass guitars.
Oh, man.
And that's one of the things where it's like, you want to jump at somebody and you got to be like, hey, we got to keep our cool. We got to try to be professional, but also you got to lay down the law and mention that that's not how you want to be treated.
Yeah. Jeez.
So yeah, it's probably one of the harder things we've had to go through, like professionally, because like you don't want to burn a bridge, but you also want to like lay, be like, hey, don't do that.
But also, I feel like since we've gone through that, I feel like you can't get much worse than that,
Yeah, we kind of got like a bad experience right off the bat, so I feel like everything since then's been better.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you might have encountered this, but I've heard stories from other bands that, when you're the support actor, you're on tour with someone, that they'll try sabotage your set by, say, messing with your amps or hiding some gear or anything. Have you guys ever encountered anything like that?
So I've never had gear stuff. The only thing I've ever had and we've had is sometimes we purposely won't get a sound check or a light show.
Yeah.
Because the other band wants it. They're like, oh, we need to sound bigger. We need to sound better. We need to do, give them no lights. And we'll just have like the one stage light on, which kind of sucks because the lights kind of get people excited. But I've had that. I've never had like equipment hiding or gear stuff. That's unfortunate if that's true.
Yeah, I've never had someone go up and just like, I'm just going to just fuck with all the knobs,
The funniest one I've ever heard, though, was this newish band were playing with a bigger established band. They were very well known. They were touring around Ireland and England at the time, and the bigger band wouldn't let them have a bass drum. Like, refused to allow them to have a bass drum.
Ooh. Yeah. Was it a second bass drum or not a bass drum at all?
No, it was just the bass drum. The guy just had cymbals and a snare then on stage.
Oh, see, that's kind of BS, man.
Yeah.
I'd walk out.
Yeah, I don't know how they actually managed to get through. But then as well, their music, it's not very bass heavy, so they could probably get away with it, but still it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, I feel like as a drummer, though, you need at least your kick and your snare.
Yeah, above anything else.
Like kick and snare in one cymbal. You don't need the toms, you don't need the other cymbals, but kick drums, that goes hand in hand with the bass guitar.
Maybe if you really like loosen your floor tom and put it on the floor.
Oh no, I don't like that.
Oh God. And is there anything you could tell, people looking to get into bands as a career? What, in your opinion, makes a successful or a tight band? What factors go into it?
Definitely, right off the bat, open up your mind. Be open-minded. You're not going to always get your way, so you gotta bend a little and then give a little. But yeah, I mean, just be prepared. Like, it sucks, but it's also the most rewarding thing in the world.
I'd say also, do you think this would be kind of self-explanatory, or like you'd think that it'd be a given, but just play well?
Yeah, practice on your own time.
That's because like we've seen a lot of bands who they'll be opening up or like playing a show, and I'm like, yeah, they're not playing in time together or stuff like that. Like stuff like that, like that'll make people notice that aren't musicians. They'll be like, oh, that doesn't quite sound right. So
yeah, definitely. Kind of going off of what you said, learn the basics. I feel like some people, they jump right into the heavy metal category. It's like learn to play chords first, just bare minimum, like playing time, know your tone. That kind of like, it sounds generic and it probably sounds like really menial, but that's the stuff that matters in the long run. I mean, there are huge bands that have been famous off of 4 chords. And that's every song. And it's like, you can do it. You want to play death metal? Learn the 4 chords first.
You guys have surely heard of that 4-chord song that's on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can become one of the most famous people, like you were saying, most famous musicians ever. All you need is the 4 chords.
Oh yeah, especially, I mean, during like before grunge, that's what it was. It was just catchy chords, catchy riffs.
Yeah.
A little bit of soloing in there, but it was just catchy stuff right off the bat.
Yeah.
But I would say definitely, like, if you're trying to do it, like, learn that stuff first. Don't be afraid to try something different, but also like put your spin on it.
It's also, like you said, it's just like it's a tough road.
Yeah, it's definitely tough.
It's not sunshine and daisies, really. Like, it's not everyone's going to care about what you're doing just because you're doing it, So just kind of be prepared that it's kind of an uphill battle.
Yeah, you definitely need a thick skin.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of people are like, we've had people that were like upset that there wasn't a crowd for them or that the other people didn't care. And it's like nobody owes you anything.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like nobody owes you anything. I mean, you got to prove yourself and you got to consistently prove yourself. Why does your music matter? Because everybody's fighting for the same thing. And not necessarily like in a competition way, but like the fans, like some people might not like this or that or the other. You gotta stick out. You gotta find your niche.
At what point or what would need to happen for you guys to, look around and say, holy crap, we've made it. We're set. This has really paid off.
That would be when, like, honestly, I'm not even trying to shoot for the big prize. If I could just live off of just doing music, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I am fine playing 100-person venues if I'm the one selling it out. I don't need the arena to be happy. I don't need the theater to be happy. It'd be nice, but I would be fine just being like, I don't have to work a day job.
Yeah, I think that's about where I'd be as well. If I just do music all the time, then I could just, focus on making other content.
That's the thing. Like if we had the opportunity where we were making enough money to, like pay your rent, pay for everything you need, I would just be happy with that. I would have so much more free time to focus on content and focus on more stuff.
Yeah, I really like that answer now because I feel like, with music, it's one of them things that it feeds your soul. When you have a love for music, it really feeds your soul. And when you have to work a day job to support that, it just, you don't end up being a very happy person,
Yeah. And there's been times I'm going to feed off of that for a minute. There's been times where we go on tour and I'm being told every night, I'm amazing. I'm the best. They love us. You're kind of getting that ego fuel where you're like, oh my God, like this matters. And then you go to work and you're just a regular effing dude, just another regular piece of garbage in the work pile.
Joe Schmo.
Yeah, and that's how it feels. Like people are like, oh, I don't care that you were on tour. Get back to work. And you're like, oh, reality check. You know what I mean? But it keeps you humble in a good and a bad way. But yeah, definitely just kind of want to just focus on music. If I could just content create all day, every day, be really happy.
Yeah. You stole the question again. The next one was seriously, man, like get out of my head. But the next one was going to be, how do you handle that? Being on stage after a sellout gig, going home the next morning, getting up, and you're back to your normal life. It must kind of mess with your head a little bit.
It definitely does. I know it hits Tom a lot, our bass player. Yeah. It hits me a lot too. Because I'm still on this like adrenaline high of like, I'm replaying that night, I'm going over, and then, it's like that the person over there doesn't care, but I mean, kind of just gotta focus on the good at that point and let it fuel you for that to be your life every day. And I feel like I kind of like I get upset, I'm a human, I get emotional, but it's like at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, that's what I want to do. I just got to keep going. It's got to keep going through.
I don't know. For me, it's kind of different because I kind of like my job. I enjoy computers, and a big part of IT is just customer service, honestly. And most of the time, people are nice because you're there to solve their problems for them. And the only thing about my job I don't like is that the thing is, a lot of the time it's chill. A lot of times I'm able to like work from home, or it's very flexible, or there's not a lot to do, but on the flip side of that, I'm on call a lot, so I have to be available at the flip of a dime. Or it's like, oh, this thing is broken. You need to go drive 200 miles to go fix this. So that's like the flip side of that. Like days like that, where I have to drive a bunch to flip a switch. Those days suck. But other days, I like my job and I like getting paid. So we can put that money into the band.
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do though, when you're on world tours and you're, number one on the Billboard charts? Are you still going to work in IT?
Honestly, this is my dream.
Oh my God.
My dream is to become rich and then work as a barista somewhere part-time.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I like talking with, like, I was like a barista / ice cream guy at a Haagen-Dazs when I was younger.
And he loved it, apparently.
I loved it. It was great. I'd love to just make coffee for people and talk to people and,
See, so what we need to do? We just need to make our own coffee shop.
Yeah.
so that you do that and then we just go on tour.
Yeah. I like to be rich and have no one know that I'm rich and just kind of like interact with people and be a regular person, you know?
Yeah, kind of like that undercover boss sort of thing.
Kind of like that. And then just in my free
coffee's free.
Yeah, and then in my free time, I just, make music, make videos about stuff, video essays that I'm interested in. I need to do more of that.
It's not a bad plan, really.
Just gotta get rich first.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And again, not to get negative or anything, but the pandemic, it affected music worldwide. How did you guys get through it?
Lot of stress and a lot of writing. That's where we so in 2020 we just released Heartbreaker, which is a new single at the time. We just got off of a tour and we released this new song going in a slightly heavier direction than where we were previous. And we were set up to do a couple tours. We were set up to do a bunch of shows, new music, new gimmick, new whatever. And then the whole world shut down. And we were like, oh, like all of this is wasted. There's now no promotion. A lot of radio stations in the States were not taking new bands. So we kind of gave up for a little bit. We didn't know what to do. We were unsure, unclear, didn't know where the path was. And then we got together, realized that being together and making music kind of is the healing process. And we started just writing our asses off. And we wrote for all of 2020, the rest of 2020, and the early part of 2021. And that became our album in November, later that year, Transcendence. So just honestly, like him and I, we were meeting like 2 or 3 times a week, just writing riffs, writing drums, recording, pitching ideas to the other members. And it was that probably for the whole time.
Yeah, I suppose at the other side, the flip side of it really is, it actually, as much as it decimated the music industry, it kind of gave bands a lot of time to really hone their craft and work at their music,
Yeah, it helped us in a writing way. Because, you're sitting there, and like I said, we were meeting, it's him and I, our instruments, and a computer, and we're just recording riff ideas, going over this, going over that, kind of figuring stuff out. It really kind of just hurt on the financial side because you're not playing shows and people, they weren't working and people were having issues. So everyone's consuming the content. They're watching music videos, they're streaming your albums, but nobody's buying merchandise. Nobody is coming to see you. So you're not making that income. But yeah, I agree. It definitely kind of pushed us in a direction where we're like, we got to figure this out, in a better way. But, you take the good and take the bad, kind of have to overcome what you're given, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. Before we move on to the last couple of questions, is there anything set in stone? What can you tell us about the rest of the year for you guys?
Nothing really set in stone. We are upgrading our tour vehicle at the moment, so we can go out longer. So I don't know if that's going to happen this year or next year. We're going to get something bigger, but we are in talks with a couple companies to get on bigger tours, like bigger national bands that we're going to kind of hop on with. But yeah, we just have 2 local shows, and then I think because during November it's peak season at my job. So we usually kind of go on a 2-month little break for November and December. But we got new music coming out. That's probably set in stone, I would say. We got another single coming out soon, probably around Halloween. May or may not have a video, depending on how Black Widow does. But yeah, that's it for now. Just kind of chilling for the year, kind of gearing up for next year already.
Yeah, brilliant. We'll get to the last couple of questions. So I always ask these, so you can't get off the podcast till you answer, I'm afraid. First one, an easy one to ease our way into it. What do you guys do when you're not playing music? What do you do to relax?
I play RuneScape.
Okay.
I play RuneScape. I jog, I bike, and then sometimes I make videos about random things. Last thing I made was a video essay about Halo 3 ODST.
Right.
Like 12 views on YouTube.
Yeah, I got one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like a lot of business stuff, so kind of like a lot of entrepreneur opportunities. I'm always trying to invest in myself, either with or without the band, to try to just make money. It's not even about making the money. Sometimes the grind is just really fun. But yeah, video games are really cool. It's a good like de-stressor, like just objectives and having fun with that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Cooking. Tom and I like cooking. The bass player and I, we like cooking a lot. So we have a little cooking show on our Patreon. If you subscribe to our Patreon,
Yeah.
so it's called Skillet to the Heart.
Oh yeah, that's also I do. I do photo and videography. Another passions of mine, more passions of mine, additional passions of mine. There we go. I can English.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm shocked though. Skillet to the Heart. That just sounds perfect. Because I'm often sitting at home and I'm like, I'm sick of what I've had for dinner for the last week. I need to think up new things. I think I'll have to try see some of them videos to get some ideas.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. We do we did like pub burgers the one time. There's like like Louisiana like chicken strips, like with like a buffalo sauce. He made like a stir fry. We got katsudon. If you ever heard of katsudon?
No, actually.
So I made katsudon from scratch. I was like super proud of myself. It's a Japanese dish, and it's a fried pork cutlet, and you fry an egg around it, and then you serve it on rice.
Oh.
But like we do a lot of like some generic stuff, some creative stuff, just to kind of have fun. And I like trying new things food wise. So that's definitely like a little hobby. I started cooking way more this year and last year, so I feel like I'm pretty good at it.
Nice. I'm sure lots of the listeners will be dying to check that out as well. We'll get into the music questions now. So, if there was any band or performer from history you could see in concert for one night only, who would it be?
Oh man, I know Audrey's answer. She would say the Beatles.
Really?
Yeah, she's a huge Beatles fan.
I'd say Nirvana. I was really into Nirvana when I was growing up, and
that would be kind of cool.
I just seen a lot of those live videos where those shows are just crazy. He's like wearing a dress. He's like smashing guitars, smoking cigarettes. And looks like a fun time.
Yeah.
Just has a guy just up there dancing for no reason. Love that.
So I have kind of a weird answer because I know they're still around, but they're old. I would have to see them in their prime. I would love to see a 1980s Motley Crue show.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. I could agree with that, all right, because they're definitely not what they were back then.
No, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not paying $300 to go see them at an arena.
Is that what
their
it
backup
is?
singers are very talented.
Yeah, I'm not into it, man. I would love to see them like at like the Whiskey, like in the 80s, like something prime, crazy sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like I would love to witness that at least once.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Metallica back in the day.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Interesting fact about you saying Nirvana. First of all, that doesn't actually come up as an answer half as much as you think it would. Because I love Nirvana myself, and I'm always like, really? It's only come up like 3 times. But they were actually supposed to play Ireland for the first time ever on the night that he was found dead.
Oh, fudge, man.
Like, even now, there's people in Ireland with the tickets that were going to see that gig.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is crazy, dude.
Nirvana was the first vinyl I ever purchased. I was in Memphis, Tennessee on a school trip, and I overpaid for a vinyl. I think I paid like $40 for it in utero, but it was my favorite Nirvana album, the last one they'd made.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, all right.
You know what would be a cool one? I don't know if anyone's brought it up. It'd be cool to see Dio.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple of times, all right. Yeah, he pops up more than Nirvana, surprisingly. But yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah, that'd be a dope one.
Yeah. And the next one, if you could spend 24 hours locked inside a room with any artist or performer from history, who would it be?
Yeah, you gotta I want to learn from them. I want to have a full blown conversation. I'd say probably the Rev.
Right, makes sense.
Drummer from Avenged. Yeah, I would love to know the way he just thinks. And we could just share a bottle of alcohol together. So I know he was into that. Just go back and forth, pick his brain, just kind of learn from it. Because his mind is so creative.
Yeah.
So that'd be really interesting.
Probably Devin Townsend.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah, he's a wild guy. Extremely talented, very creative. And he's done everything from, super brutal to the super chill.
I feel like he'd be a good conversationalist.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He would love to just talk for 24 hours.
Yeah.
If you were locked in a room with him.
Yeah, he would be actually good because I feel like, if you went in with the mindset of I'm going to learn everything from him, 24 hours definitely wouldn't be enough. Like 3 months wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. Living with him wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of his workshops. Like one of my favorite quotes on his videos is like, "Chill out, man. Smell the roses, and if they smell like music, get to the studio."
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And the final question, so if there was a song that could appear on the soundtrack to your life, what would it be?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I go through a lot of emotions every day, so it's I don't know if it should be angry or you know what I mean.
It doesn't sound depressing, but I could definitely point to some songs as far as like my childhood goes, but I don't know about songs for now.
Do the childhood one then.
Somewhere I Belong by Linkin Park. I listened to that song a lot when I was a kid.
That is a sad one.
A very sad song.
Yeah,
that is a sad one.
Yeah. I don't know about now though. I don't know if that certainly wouldn't be like my entire life. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one.
Okay. It's a good choice though. Good song.
That or Cigaro by System of a Down.
Not bad.
I'm just gonna give like a big nothing burger answer. All I can think of right now.
No problem.
That or Vicinity of Obscenity.
Oh my god.
If you can tell, I like System of a Down quite a lot.
I would have never guessed, no.
Yeah. Actually, at that concert where we did the same concert together, I used to live right next to the Allstate Arena where the show was. So I snuck by where the tour buses were in the VIP area, and I got to meet the drummer John.
Are you serious? Oh
yeah.
Man!
I also got a picture with Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones, but I didn't know who the Deftones were.
Right.
I was just walking by. He's like, "Hey, man!" I was like, "Oh, hi!" He's like, "Do you want like a picture?" I was like, "Sure." I was like, "Hey, weren't you the guy playing up there, the guitar? Yeah, you're pretty good, man."
That would have been even funnier if it turned out like he wasn't that guy and he was just some random asking if you wanted a photo.
Yeah. He just looks like Stephen Carpenter.
Yeah.
You find a song yet?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's hard. I'm trying. I can't think of any titles all of a sudden.
It happens. It's a tough question, especially to just spring on you.
My Band by D12.
No, there's one. So I'd probably say if I had to just like spring one, probably like The Victim by Memphis Mayfire.
Right. Why that one?
So it's a song about kind of like dealing with a lot of people that are purposely trying to like F you over. And you're constantly in this, like, not only is it like a personal battle with yourself to kind of figure out who's on your side, both in a good and a bad way, but also like overcoming that like mentality.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of people try to just like take from me and steal either like ideas or like physically like something. And it's like, you kind of have to like, life is like a big fight. You know what I mean? And it's way better when you have friends on your side. And sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, very true, actually. Very true. Sounds like the perfect song. So, right, guys. Well, it was an absolute blast. I really enjoyed chatting with you for the last hour now. And I can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. This was great.
We really appreciate it. You've been a pleasure to talk to as well.
Get this feeling, breathless and divine, crawling on my skin, it seeks to this feeling pulsing in my mind, losing all control. I think it's time. The world starts to spin. I think I'm giving in. I can't feel myself. I think I'm falling away, washed in my skin, coming from within. I can't see myself. I think I'm falling away. I cannot stop this sickness from below. This cannot shake me. Sorrow so unknown, like a wave from me. I'm gonna evolve. The world starts to spin. I think I'm giving in. I can't feel myself. I think I'm falling away, washed in my skin, coming from within. I can't see myself. I think I'm falling away. I think I'm falling away.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is DJ JC, and I'm one of the DJs over at Super Cool Radio. I host a 1-hour metal show called The Brutal Block. We have new episodes every Tuesday, dropping at noon. So if heavy metal music is something that you're into, then make your way over to The Brutal Block. Throw up the horns, and let's get rockin'!
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up to Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rockin'.
Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here. Bye.